Hello, my dear TKT students. Today, we're going to learn the effective presentation techniques for language teaching. This is the unit about the teaching methods on your TKT course. And the first topic to discuss today is timing of the presentation. So the timing of a presentation determines when the target language is introduced. In a PPP or presentation, practice, and production approach, language is presented before practice, while in TBL or task-based learning, it follows students' attempts to use it. This can affect learners' readiness and receptiveness to new language concepts. There are many language methods, but the ones that are commonly evaluated in the TKT exam are PPP, presentation, practice, and production. Think about this. You are going to first teach or present the topic. Then you're going to have your students practice, like in the picture, which is the practice stage. And then there is the production stage where students can practice and present back to the class what they have learned. This is probably the most logical concept when it comes to teaching. But then there is a task-based learning. Think about having your students do something sometimes without even knowing. Then having them reflect on the topic. In the end, you will teach, so they will make sure their guesses were correct, and you will reinforce the topic. This is probably the opposite of PPP. Language items to present. Choosing the right language items is critical. This involves deciding which grammatical structures, vocabulary, and functional exponents to teach, as well as how many items to introduce simultaneously for optimal student understanding and retention. Before you choose the method in which you will be teaching your lesson, you're going to consider the complexity of the topic you are going to teach. And according to your expertise and your own experience, you will decide which method to use. Contextual choices. The chosen context for presenting new language should be meaningful and relevant to students' lives. Contextualization helps learners grasp the meaning of the language more effectively. Personalization is key to fostering engagement and understanding. Let us just imagine that you're going to teach simple present and you want your students to end up talking about their daily routines. Personalizing this complex topic means asking questions about what they do in their everyday life. So this is something you are going to personalize. You're going to try to make it relevant to the students' lives. Then we can talk about the meaning versus the form focus. Deciding whether to prioritize meaning or form directly impacts language acquisition. Young learners typically benefit more from focus on the meaning, while other older or more advanced students might require explicit instruction on form to deepen their understanding. Think about the age of your learners. Teaching kids complex grammar concepts is going to be difficult for them to understand, to follow up, to remember such complex structures for them is going to just make it worse when their brains are not ready to grasp and understand such difficult concepts. But if you're teaching adults, having adults sing a song is very difficult. Having adults stand up and dance is very hard, they would rather sit and talk and listen to you and understand ideas and complex concepts. So it all depends on what you want to produce in your classes and how you want to teach it. Aids for context creation. Effective aids for context creation include visual aids, games, and realia, meaning real objects that you can bring to your class. These resources can help illustrate the meaning of the target language, making it more tangible for students. Varied eyes cater to different learning styles, enhancing comprehension and retention. This is probably when you want to consider bringing real, let's say, ingredients to cook something in class, or describing the pieces of clothing that you're wearing or your students are wearing, and all these concepts that are related to bringing up real context or games. Just remember, pay attention to the age of your learners. The role of introductory activities. This is the first stage. Introductory activities are crucial for setting the tone of a lesson. They help to engage students, raise their energy levels, and prepare them for the instructional content that follows, ensuring a smoother transition into the lesson objectives. Introductory activities. You want your students to do something so they somehow wake up. Games and many other activities that you can do in the first 5 minutes of your lesson can help them be ready for what you want to teach. Then we can talk about the warmers. Warmers are activities designed to energize students at the beginning of a lesson. They can include games or quick interactive tasks, not necessarily related to the lesson content, but effective in putting students at ease and focused. If you are going to teach simple past today, just try to play, let's say, the game of Simon. Simon says, do this. So kids stand up and do this. Simon says, turn around. So kids have to turn around. They will be laughing, enjoying this moment, but they will not be applying this to the concept of simple past. On the other hand, the lead-ins serve to introduce lesson content effectively. These activities connect prior knowledge to the new material, motivating students and preparing them for active participation in the upcoming lesson content. So, lead in. You are going to play some random game, and the person designed by the game, for some people you may call it Tingo Tango, the one that is left with the ball, for example, of the object, this person is going to talk about what he or she did last weekend. You might expect students to make mistakes in this stage. I slept, I worked, I ate, knowing that they don't know the conjugation of those verbs in the past. I worked, I slept, I helped. By doing this, you are presenting a leading activity that is going to take the students to the understanding of the simple past, which you will explain in the next stage of your lesson. Icebreakers. Icebreaker activities aim to foster familiarity among students, particularly in new classes. They encourage students to interact and discover common interests, building a comfortable classroom environment for learning. Icebreakers. Imagine your students the first days of class in the group, they're like reserved. They don't really open up. And in English, this could be a big problem because they don't want to speak. They don't want to raise their hand. They don't want to do anything because they feel either ashamed or nervous. So if you do your icebreakers effectively, you'll know that students will start participating the way you want them to. Now we're going to just talk about the comparisons between PPP and TBL. Presentation, practice, and production, PPP, emphasizes structured learning. It focuses on the meaning, the form, and thought of practice of language in a predictable sequence. In contrast, TBL prioritizes real communication through task completion, allowing learners to discover language organically, often leading to higher engagement and practical application. Let's think about this for a while. Let's think about, for instance, when you want your learners to, for example, let's say, make a grocery list. You can start teaching it to them. I think it's going to be a little difficult for them to keep their attention on your explanation. But then if you would rather ask them, hey, guys, I'm going shopping, I'm going grocery shopping. What do you think I should bring? What do you like, Tom? What do you like, Maria? What do you like? And you start writing things down, they might start bringing up new ideas to your grocery list. Implications for language teaching. So, recognizing the distinct methodologies of PPP and TBL allows educators to tailor their approach according to students' needs. Incorporating both methods can foster a balanced learning environment, enhancing confidence and proficiency in language use. So, here what happens is that as a teacher, you will have enough experience to decide when to use PPP and when to use TBL. Final thoughts on effective presentation techniques. Effective presentation techniques combine clarity, engagement, and contextualization to facilitate language acquisition. As language teachers refine their strategies, focusing on individual learner profiles will result in a more fruitful educational experience. Just remember, PPP, when you want to have and get your meaning across in a direct way, maybe adults benefit more from this kind of teaching method. So they need to sit down, listen to you, then they need to do exercises, then they need to show proofs of learning. TBL. You start the class without teaching. You start the class by presenting the task, the thing to do in class, the assignment. Today, we are going to learn how to, for example, cook a recipe, or we're going to learn how to give directions to somebody else, but you're not teaching yet. You're just asking them to do so, expecting mistakes. You control mistakes in PPP, in the second P, the practice part. You correct exercises, but in here, students make a lot of mistakes in the task part of the lesson because they are not supposed to know the topic yet. So you let them do it, and then you correct them in the teaching part. In the task-based lesson, you teach at the end of the lesson. In the presentation, practice, and production part, you are going to teach them at the beginning of the lesson. Then we can think about these key takeaways. Understanding both PPP and TBL equips educators with vital tools to cater to diverse learning preferences. Blending these methodologies creates opportunities for students to engage with language in both structured and flexible context, fostering deeper understanding and retention. I hope this is all clear for now. Remember, there are more things to do at EnglishGain.com. What you want to do is access your course, do the exercises, watch the video explanations for them, and advance in your TKT preparation so you can get your band 4 in the exam. Thank you very much for watching this presentation. I will see you in the next topic. Bye-bye.